Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Nighttime. My name is Maddie Glass, and as always, we are joined by my co-host Tyler Brownrigg. Today we will be talking about the UCF soccer team and their potential first-round matchups, college basketball news from the first few games, and some hot topics in college football. Stay tuned because Nighttime starts right now.
When you check the stats, boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask. Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back to Nighttime, everybody, and we're starting off with, of course, our UCF soccer team. We finally get to talk about some tournament play, the NCAA Tournament, and I just want to start right away. Actually, we have our two guys on the couch who are experts at the UCF soccer team. They've joined me week and week and week again. So how are you guys doing? Are you excited to finally talk about the tournament play?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again.
This is my third week in a row talking about UCF men's soccer. I could not be happier.
Okay. Tyler, how do you feel right now?
I mean, I'm just feeding off of Jared's excitement. I'm loving it. I'm feeling great today. I'm excited. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we finally know what seed they're going to be. It's going to be the number 12 seed. Starting off, do you guys on the couch think that this is a good spot for UCF?
I think that number 12 is perfect. I think that when we were ranked number 1, it was a bit, what's the word?
Controversial.
High pressure.
It's very high pressure. So we don't really deserve to be that high up. But I think 12 is just right for us. Not too high, not too low, right in the middle. So I think that we're really going to thrive here. And I'm looking forward to how we perform in the tournament.
Completely agree. I mean, we struggled majorly against teams like Marshall, which granted they're the number 1 team in the nation, and we tied against West Virginia. Very tough opponent. I know if we win in the tournament, we're going to get to play them. I think 12 is a great spot for us.
Yeah, and then our 2 possible opponents actually play tomorrow, actually tonight, but it'll already happen when you watch this episode, Rider and Vermont. Do you guys want to tell me a little bit about these 2 possible opponents?
So Rider is actually on an 8-game unbeaten streak. They are absolutely thriving right now, and it's looking rough for UCF if they have to go up against these guys. They were the champion of the MAAC, so these guys are legit. And let me tell you about the guy named Dean Babacar. Now here's a guy that has 12 goals this season with a 49% shot on goal percentage, along with 4 game winners and 4 assists. So this guy is legit, okay? This guy is the Patrick Mahomes of men's college soccer. So,
of Rider soccer.
Of Rider soccer. He's riding all day, baby. So listen, this guy, if we have to go up against him, he is going to be a problem for UCF.
Yeah, and then also mentioning their goalie, Adam Salama, he gives up 1 goal on average. He has 11 wins and 6 shutouts. So that could even be a tougher matchup for them defensively. Tyler, what do you make of Rider?
I think Rider is by far the tougher opponent. And UCF, given how the Knights ended the season just so poorly and just, one and done in their conference tournament, I think playing an opponent Rider in in their first game of the tournament would be such a huge challenge for them, and I don't think that's really what they need. They need maybe an easier game where they can get into a groove early and then just get their rhythm back, because they have just lost all sense of foundation that they built over the course of this season.
Yeah, and that their other option for an opponent would be Vermont. Nick, can you tell me a little bit about this Vermont team and what to expect from them?
Absolutely. I know that Rider is on their 8-game win streak, but Vermont, their goalkeeper, has played every single game. He's reliable, and he lets up less than a goal per game at .72 goals on average. And Yaniv Bazzini, one of their players, has 8 goals and 3 assists. Then their player, Nick Lockerman, He's like the Chris Paul of soccer, okay? He has
wow.
7 assists on the season. He just facilitates that offense.
I want to play that guy
I
in the
think
playoffs then.
Exactly.
Oh.
I think they're the tougher matchup. I hope they come out on top. We'll see when you guys see this. But that's Vermont.
So who do you guys think? Let's just go into some Rider soccer since we're such huge fans. Who do you guys think is going to win tonight for this game? Starting with Tyler.
I think the winner will I think the clear favorite and winner will be Rider. They're just such a good team. You know, they're on such a hot streak, champions of their conference. It's going to be tough it's really tough to pick against them when they're just so dominant and they have a guy who's such great at scoring goals like their forward, Babacar. So, yeah, I'm going with Rider.
And then do you guys think the Knights will make it past the first round of the tournament no matter who they play, or do you think it depends on opponent?
I think it completely depends on opponent. I'm hoping that we play Vermont, even though they do have a better goalkeeper than Rider does. But Rider has the better forward with Babacar. So I'm really hoping that I think that Luca Dorado is going to perform well against the better goalkeeper. So I'm not really too worried about that. So hopefully we see Vermont. But it's more likely, in my opinion, that we see Rider.
Yeah, and then finally, how far do you think the Knights are going to get in the tournament? Are you projecting a national title?
That's debatable. There's some tough roadblocks, like Marshall, as I said before. But I think we can get pretty much all the way. We showed that in the regular season. We played some tough opponents, and we came out on top. So national championship, debatable, but fingers crossed. I know they'll get far.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for this segment this week. So moving on to My Nightlight. It is a UCF basketball player that has started the season on fire. See if you know who it is before we come back.
All right. We got to...
Nathan said it's Kirsten's fault.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing that shit. Is my mic on?
So, Tyler Brown, right? It says in my notes you're an Oklahoma fan.
That is correct.
So, let me ask you, bud. Is Texas back?
All right, I put on a brave face a lot, but this year, I'm really scared that they are, man. Okay, they just beat Alabama. They're gonna be top 4 in the rankings. And last year, they beat us 48-0.
Yeah.
It was humiliating. We're the Oklahoma Sooners. We were the best ever. We were talk of the town. We had Baker, Kyler, and Jalen 3 years in a row. And now, are we good? I don't know. We haven't won a national title since 2000. We're number 18, I think, and nothing matters, dude.
Sometimes we build up these walls thinking they're impenetrable. But sometimes you have to knock these walls down to build up bigger and stronger ones. And you got to be tough through that. It's hard being an Oklahoma fan at this time, but grass is always going to be greener on the other side of the hill, buddy.
Is it? I cannot live through a Texas national championship. I can't. I'll never recover.
Do you want to talk about Lincoln Riley?
What'd you just say to me?
I just want to know if you want to talk about Lincoln Riley.
You listen here, you court-ordered quack. You mentioned that.
New transfer guard Jalen Sellers. Sellers has scored 20 points or above in both of UCF's games this season, and he's a dynamic scoring guard who is going to be a huge part of the Knights' season. Now, speaking of college basketball, that's our next segment, and I'm joined by Jeremy and Andrew. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, you know. How about you, Andrew?
I'm doing good. I don't think I've been on air with you yet, so I'm excited to start off
Oh,
talking
yeah.
college basketball.
Why not?
For
It's been a
sure.
good time.
And let's just start it off with a banger because James Madison upset number 6 Michigan State. They're not number 6 anymore, but they were at the time in overtime. And they've started the season 3-0. They upset Michigan State 79-76, and it wasn't really neither team's best performance. Michigan only shot 1 for 20 from three-point range. So, Andrew, do you think this was more about Michigan State or JMU just now being an elite sports school?
I don't think JMU, at least in terms of college basketball, is going to be considered that great just because they beat Michigan State. I mean, like you said, they shot Michigan State shot 1 for 20 from 3, which you don't even see that in like HTF basketball. That's crazy. But JMU, they had TJ Bickerstaff scoring 21 points, 14 rebounds. Terrence Edwards, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Everyone else kind of did their part. I think there was one other player on JMU that game that scored double-digit points, but other than that, it was mainly just TJ and Terrence that took the load. And then, yeah, Michigan State just could not do anything from behind the arc.
Jeremy, do you have any thoughts on Michigan State? Because obviously they had a lot of expectations so far this season, and they've started the season 1-2 with another loss to Duke. Do you have any thoughts?
Honestly, with Michigan State, if you look at Walker, he really did do his own thing. Like, I mean, he had 35 points. I think it's just around like the rest of the team to kind of pick up the slack. I think that, you know, they're not necessarily a bad team. I think they have potential to do really good things. It's just about capitalizing on the opportunities to be better.
Yeah, for sure. And then, Tyler, tell me a little bit about James Madison, kind of everything.
Listen, what a time to be a James Madison fan. This year for them has been outstanding. Football, you're undefeated. You're ranked in both college football and college basketball AP polls, and you upset a top 10 team in basketball. And college game day is coming to your school this weekend. So honestly, James Madison, I feel great for him. I wish they got their justice in the appeal for their football team. But I think, James Madison, you've got so much to be proud of, and you should just enjoy the ride while you're on it, dude. It's great.
Because it's not going to last.
I think the basketball team has a chance to do some damage. Football, unfortunately, they can't make the playoffs. But
wait for their Cinderella run in March.
Yeah. And then moving on to another upset, the #1 LSU women's basketball national champions fell to Colorado in the first game of the season. This was another like game where if you look at the box score, like nothing LSU did or Colorado did really jumps out as like, oh my gosh, they shot 1 for 20 from 3. That didn't happen, but I just want to hear a little bit about that game. Andrew, do you have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, so just again, like you said, looking at the box score, it was mainly 2 Colorado players that stood out. You look at Aaronette Vonleh, she dropped 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Frida Foreman, 27 points actually, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and shot 7 of 11 from the 3-point line. Outside of that, once again, there wasn't much going on for Colorado. There wasn't much depth, at least, in neither the starting lineup nor in the bench. And LSU did happen to get 11 less assists, 6 less three-pointers, which doesn't stand out much in the box score. But, I mean, in a game, especially at the collegiate level, that does start to add up.
And then, Jeremy, this is the first ever national title team to lose in the season opener. Does this say something about how their season is going to go, or do you think it's just a fluke loss?
Honestly, I would say I feel like it's more of a fluke loss. Like if you look at them and how they were playing last year, like actually it was kind of interesting to see that Angel Reese got benched after like the first play when she shot a 3. But I think it's just they're working on like the kinks of how they're gonna play in this new season. But I think like going off last year and how they played, I think that they'll keep doing great because they haven't lost a game since. And so I think yeah, we just got to see. I think they're on track to be as good as they were last year.
Tyler, are you calling a repeat?
I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm calling a repeat. Would I be surprised, say, a rematch between Iowa and LSU in the final? No, but LSU, I agree with Jeremy a lot. That was a fluke loss. LSU is still one of the, if not the best team in the country. Kim Mulkey, best to ever do it in women's basketball. So, again, no need to ring any alarm bells. It's still a long season for LSU basketball, so they don't need to be worried.
And then I want to talk about a potential NBA lottery pick that has just looked amazing to start the season, USC's Isaiah Collier. Andrew, what have you seen from Collier that has him looking like a potential star?
Well, like you said, he's potentially going to be one of the first draft picks in the upcoming NBA draft. And first of all, he's a freshman, so this gives him a lot of value in the NBA draft. But he's also averaging 20 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 1.7 steals, and 50% shooting from the field as a point guard in the first 3 games of the season. However, on the other side of that coin, he is averaging almost 6 turnovers, which is almost double the amount of assists he has, alongside 29% shooting from the three-point line. It is a little bit concerning just to see that from Isaiah Collier, but he still has the rest of the season to improve that, and hopefully he does.
Yeah, and USC started 2-0, but they did take a loss to UC Irvine. And a lot of USC has been in the news because Bronny James attended. What do you guys think? Do you think Bronny's going to play this year?
Honestly, I would say I really don't think so, because cardiac arrest is a very scary thing. And so I think keeping up with the doctors and seeing how he's going to be able to like move forward gives better indication for next year. But as of right now, I don't think he'll play this year.
I don't think he should play either, just because A, I mean, you never know what it's going to be like for his health, and B, give this current roster, especially with Isaiah, some time to mesh, some time to figure itself out, and then maybe next season you can incorporate Bronny and then just run it like full steam ahead with him.
I agree with that a lot, guys. The cardiac arrest was a really scary thing. LeBron said he's actually getting evaluated at the end of this month. Another check-in to see if everything's going on schedule. And LeBron did say that Bronny does plan to try and play this season, though what his role will really be, I imagine, will be very small.
And then moving on to one of the first big matchups of the season, Arizona beats Duke. Tyler, tell me about this Arizona team. Obviously, they lost in the first round last year to Princeton, but they still are a very great team.
Arizona, listen, they have something to prove this year. They absolutely demolished Duke. Every single one of their starters scored in the double digits. The only real presence of any production-wise Duke side was their top player, Kyle Flipkowski. My goodness. He had 25 points, 8 boards, 2 steals. Duke's bench was completely shut down. Only 2 bench players really got any scoring production, and Kyle was, again, the only one who scored in double digits for Duke. So Arizona, I think this year, the Princeton loss, that was bad, but they had some of that. Princeton had that March magic last year and just went on a bit of a run. But I think Arizona this year, they are back. They're a complete, well-rounded team, and they are going to dominate this season in the Pac-12.
Jeremy, do you like this Arizona team?
Honestly, I really do. Like, after watching them play against Duke, it really was a sight to see. Like, having all their starters being able to score that efficiently really shows like the projection of the team and how well they're going to do this season.
Yeah, and then talking about another star in college basketball, Caitlin Clark. She's averaging 36 points per game through 2 games and has Iowa off to a 3-0 start. They're ranked number 2 in the nation behind South Carolina. Tyler, what have we seen from Caitlin Clark? We know she is a superstar, but how do you see this season playing out for her?
I mean, I think it's the same old, same old. Caitlin Clark is must-see television with college basketball. She's a lights-out shooter and has amazing court vision, and she just continues to break records. She is now the 2nd player in NCAA history to get a triple-double in all 4 seasons of her collegiate career. I would not be surprised to see her back in the title game at the end of the season with a vengeance to try and redeem their loss to LSU.
Andrew and Jeremy, what do you expect from the Hawkeyes this season?
I expect just about what Tyler said. I think after losing in the finals to LSU, Iowa, at least Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, is going to just come out with just fire in her eyes. I mean, like you said, averaging 36 points, but she's also averaging 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, and in a career low 32 minutes, which means she's being more efficient in less amount of time. That even allows for bench players to progress on the court. So I think this is going to be, everybody on the team is going to be that much more efficient, that much more lethal, and it's just going to be even better Iowa team.
And honestly, I would say, like, if you really look at Caitlin Clark, she is a superstar. Like, her game is pretty much, I want to say it's perfect, but it's pretty close. She's very efficient. She does everything on the court. So, I think that they'll make it pretty far, within, like, the later of the season. And so we just got to see how they go from here.
All right. Thank you, boys, for joining us. Sadly, that's all the time we have to talk college basketball. Anyway, I'm going to move it into my nightlight, who is a player on UCF's football team, who had a great game in their win against Oklahoma State. You'll find out who it is after this commercial break.
Hello. My name is Ty Patton, and I am a licensed sports therapist. And today I'm here to help 3 people cope with their misfortunate teams. Maddie, when was the last time the Bears won anything?
I don't think I've ever experienced that feeling.
Maddie, the MVP is not a real award.
But it was voted on.
By kids, Maddie.
Yeah, it was a real award, and I think that's one thing that we can, we made history with that moment. We don't have to talk about Trubisky or the draft because I really don't like to think about that. It really just makes me, I'm sorry.
Now, Maddie, is Mitch Trubisky still with the team?
No. I'm not sure he's in the NFL.
Do you know?
I know Mahomes is, and he was drafted ahead of him. Actually, Mitch Trubisky, it was a bad one. And now we have Justin Fields, who I have belief in. And the worst thing about sports, it's the hope it gives you.
Maddie, at times like this, sometimes we as fans like to hold on to what was.
Yeah,
But
my dad
sometimes
still
you
talks about the 85 Bears like it was yesterday. I texted him yesterday. I was like, how about this Bears game? And he was just like, this is so sad. I watched with my neighbor's lifelong Bears fan. I watched with them. It was just, you can't describe the feelings that were showcased in that living room.
And if you couldn't figure it out, my nightlight was UCF cornerback Damari Allen. Now listen, here is a guy who is just a big play waiting to happen. He had 2 interceptions in the Knights' win against Oklahoma State. Just a big play threat and complete game changer. But now it is time for some college football. And joining us for this is longtime nighttime veteran Patrick Preverty. And joining us for the first time this season, Jack Hansel. Now let's go over to the couch. How are you guys doing today?
I am ecstatic to be on nighttime, let me tell you. I am just ready to go.
Dude, yeah, you might be actually my favorite guest on this couch,
Man,
so far.
I'm honored.
I think.
That's insane, Camden Shade.
All right, but let's get right into it. So our first big headline of the week, Michigan defeating Penn State on the road in Happy Valley. No Jim Harbaugh. So guys, what are your thoughts about this game and what do you think this means for Michigan? We'll start with them.
You can go first.
Well, I think Michigan's playing angry right now. All their players, just tweeted out bet after it came out that Harbaugh wasn't going to be on the sidelines for this game. I think Michigan's one of the best teams in the Big Ten, obviously, and one of the best teams in the country. So I wasn't surprised that Penn State couldn't hang. They can't really hang with any of the top or the upper echelon teams in college football. So I wasn't too surprised by it. Penn State can't really hang like that.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State just hasn't been able to hang like that. I thought I saw James Franklin's record at Penn State against ranked teams is a whopping 12-24. So they just haven't been able to do it for a while. Now, before this segment came on, people were talking about the firing and all that. James Franklin's still a good coach. Penn State's annually a top 15 team in the nation. So I don't think a firing would be even right. But Michigan is loaded. As my best friend PJ Fleck once said, that is the most loaded college football team he has ever seen take the field. So I'm not going to blame him for losing by less than 10 points to the most loaded college football team to ever take the field.
All right, and now, of course, we can't talk about Michigan without addressing the elephant in the room. Jim Harbaugh, before the Penn State game, was suspended for Michigan's final 3 games. He can still coach the team, though he cannot coach the team on game day. Maddie, I'll start with you. Do you agree with this suspension of Jim Harbaugh?
I don't know. I think you have to do something because of the allegations, but I know they're fighting it out in court this week. I think the fact that he's able to coach during the week makes it okay, makes it better for Michigan. And, the coach that came in, he was so happy when they won that game. He was sobbing. It was an interesting post-game interview, but, I think it's not going to affect them too much, especially because he'll probably be back for the Big Ten championship, I assume. And if he can coach during the week, he can still game plan and, help them win. I do think that it's tough. But I agree with what Patrick said. They're out for blood. I mean, the passing wasn't on display, but we saw how good they can be with their first ranked win of the season.
All right, now guys, same question I'll pose to you. Now, again, I want to emphasize this suspension was not brought by the NCAA. It was brought by the Big Ten commissioner and the conference as a whole. The NCAA still has an ongoing investigation into this alleged sign stealing scandal. So what are your thoughts on this suspension?
Absolutely bogus. Let me tell ya.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely bogus. Listen, I'm from the mindset if you're gonna suspend someone, suspend them. Don't just do this half suspension thing. If you're allowed to coach during practice, what is the point of suspending him? He's still the coach. But what's it called? The Big Ten just wants to see Ohio State win. They don't want to see Jim Harbaugh coach against Ohio State. So.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the angle here, Jack. I have not heard that at all from anybody.
The Ohio State.
I don't hate it,
Look,
but
The Ohio State bias is unbelievable.
Okay, something happened here. Something went down. I don't think I would have suspended him. I don't know what the Big Ten's play here is. Usually when a conference suspends somebody like this, it's for the NCAA to not bring the hammer down on them later on. So I don't really know what to think of it. I'd like due process to be finished before he misses more games, personally. I think it kind of puts a sad, gets people like him to say crazy stuff like this as the season goes on. It doesn't make any sense.
The golden child.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on to another insane game. UCF upsets Oklahoma State. They won 45-3 at home, which is just kind of unbelievable. It's their first top 15 win since 2017. Patrick, what do you make of this game? Oklahoma State just beat Oklahoma, and now they lost to UCF.
Yeah, this was one of the best points, I think, for UCF in a long time, definitely this season. I mean, we had our low point against Baylor when we blew that major lead against them. This is probably the best win do you think this is the best win that we've had since we won those bowl games? Oh, we were undefeated?
Yeah, I don't even
Not
know
even close?
win we've had since
Yeah,
we
I
won
was
those
going to say
bowl
maybe
games,
since the Auburn win almost, or like when we were in the AAC championship games. Like, this is definitely big for the program, and now we might actually make a bowl game this year. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that this is our first real Big 12 win, because I'm not counting Cincinnati, who also came from the AAC. So it's good to see, and it was a good win. I mean, long overdue, but I think Oklahoma State's a good team and probably viewed us as a trap game or something of the sorts, because that was embarrassing what they put up.
Tyler, where does Oklahoma State go from here? Because they are now number 25 after that huge win against your Oklahoma team.
Oklahoma State is, currently the Big 12 conference game as a whole is kind of in a state of disarray because there's a lot of weird tiebreakers that can happen. So I think right now they're in the driver's seat, so they're okay.
Okay, and now let's move on to another coaching news. Jimbo Fisher was fired from Texas A&M. It's a loss for him, but it's actually a win for him. Patrick, tell me about Jimbo's career at Texas A&M.
So looking back at Jimbo Fisher's career, you would think he isn't that bad of a coach. He's got a couple 8-win seasons, a 9-win season, no double-digit win seasons, but still very respectable within the conference. At the end of the day, though, he had the #1 recruiting class a couple years ago, and Texas A&M's boosters are paying him all that money, and now all that money not to coach. They weren't happy with it. This year, they lost all of their big games, essentially. They had a game against Miami, Alabama, Tennessee, and Ole Miss, and they were all close, and they were all L's. So at the end of the day, I think they were just frustrated, and I'm not surprised that he, is out, but I'm just, the number of $77.5 million not to do your job is insane. So
By all counts, he's living the American dream.
Jimbo Fisher, that's my dream
work.
job is to be a bad college football coach. Just so I can get fired and then just get paid millions to not do my job.
Okay, we actually have to move on to what Jack came here for. Florida State, they stay in the playoff rankings. They are number 4. Jack, give me your Florida State takes. I know you do not like this team.
Unbelievable. This team is a bunch of frauds. I hope people can see the graphic. Florida State, 50th strength of schedule. Washington's number 30, by the way. Against the spread, against such a soft schedule, they are 6-4. And then their biggest win of the year is a 3-loss LSU team. Their They might play Louisville in a conference championship game, but Vegas thinks so much of Louisville. They are underdogs to Miami, and we all know Miami is also not good. They're going to have no good wins. Their schedule was not tough. They're 6-4 against the spread. And then their other best win was Duke, and Duke was winning in the third quarter with the ball at the Florida State 5-yard line until their starting quarterback went out for the game, and their backup was a deer in headlights. And I have never seen someone like Travis Hunter, who was a Heisman hopeful coming into the season. They are 10-0, and his Heisman odds have dropped. He hasn't even been good. So this team is fraudulent. Fraudulent.
All right, Jack, listen. I understand. I understand the Florida State hate. I get it. But listen, the idea that, and I personally, I put Washington over them right now in the college football playoffs. They've come off back-to-back ranked wins. Washington deserves to be number 4. So let's get that out there right in front. But the idea that Florida State does not control their own destiny and can make the college football playoff by becoming an undefeated Power 5 champs with ranked wins over LSU, Clemson, and
Clemson has
Louisville.
4 losses. It is not good.
And they have just
they have
and
4
they have
losses.
beat ranked Notre Dame. All right, so I don't want to hear it. Listen, those ranked wins still matter. LSU has been on a bounce back with Jaden Daniels being a Heisman candidate.
Team. Another 3-loss team.
They dominated them at a neutral site. So let's just get this out of the way. Florida State deserves to make the playoff if they go undefeated. If they drop a game, then for sure.
Their best win is going to be Louisville, who lost by 3 scores to Pitt, and Pitt is 2-9.
Okay, we have to resume this conversation another time. I wish I left more time for that, but they're telling me to shut up. So let's move on to our primetime picks really quick. Washington against Oregon State. If Washington wins this game, are they taking Florida State's spot?
Washington, because they're going to jump Florida State eventually.
God. I sure hope so.
Washington by
a mile.
And they cover.
Patrick?
1.5 points. They will cover that.
Okay, I'm going with Washington too, Tyler.
I'm going with the Huskies. Michael Penix, I can't pick against him.
All right, amazing. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. That was episode 10 of Nighttime. We'll be back next week, or not next week. Happy Thanksgiving. The week after that for our last show of the semester. Bye. Okay, why?
What's the deal? Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. The rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.